Hello, I am Professor Amy Keeley. Thank you for joining me on Being Paleo, the program designed to unpack this modern life and teach people how to be healthier mind, body, and spirit by rejecting this modern life that we live in. Slowly, because it's hard to unpack, but by looking at different ancient art, ancient lifestyles, ancient food practices. Many people think that this channel is all about paleo plan, and it's not. It is designed to talk about paleo dieting and how they live their lives. So people think that they ate only meat. Well, they had scarcity, which means that they did not always have meat to eat, and they were gathering. So they were hunting for berries and nuts and all the things that are part of that, the vegetarian and vegan lifestyle. So they weren't always, meat eaters. So trying to disabuse that idea. That's, again, I started thinking about ancient people and trying to live that lifestyle in my head as I start to unpack this. So I am following the paleo plan, but that's really more my affinity with the Paleolithic people and going back to those kind of society structures that worked well, because obviously it's failing us today. So doing this requires going back and looking at our oral tradition, which is why I have had these little motivationals where I go back and think about ancient sayings. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And that you ring the bell so that you get all my latest videos that come out, and also that you share it with other people that are struggling. The idea behind this is to talk to people who are anxious or who are depressed, who are struggling in society, and helping them understand that it's okay to go backwards. We don't have to keep up with the Joneses. We don't have to have these mega lifestyles that all these celebrities are promoting, that we can live a very simple lifestyle and be okay with it. You can die not being a millionaire as long as you've got great friends around you. So let's unpack it for today. So today is don't take a wooden nickel, which is very, very relevant today to our government structure. So as I'll be going, before I go into this, I want to make sure everybody on this channel, as I've said before, I am apolitical. I am an independent, which means I hate both sides. As a college professor who teaches business and teaches marketing, I am horrified at how people who run our government have political science majors and are lawyers. They have never worked in business. They know nothing about quality management systems, and yet they're running the entity that controls business. So I don't like it because the people that are running and putting our laws in place are not qualified. What they do is they respond to our ability to be upset with, let's say, corporate greed, and they should be, because corporate greed isn't capitalism that's wrong. It's the people that are in capitalism. There are many people who run small businesses that are ethical, like I have been ethical. I ran a designer resale boutique where I only sold high-end designer like Chanel and Louis Vuitton, to the point where I taught myself how to be able to find a fake, and I never sold fakes. In fact, I was taken in the tune of like $5,000 or $10,000, probably more on the $10,000 side, before I figured out how to be able to identify Chanel's. And that was my fault for not wanting to take the time to understand how Chanel's were made. And I'll end up doing some podcasts and videos on what I learned about the brands, because people are still interested in them, but I'm not interested in them anymore. If I buy them, it's purely for function, but it's not because I want any accolades for it. But I have a lot of fake ones around my house that I use for decoration, because my ethics are that I will never sell them. So when you look at the people who are running big business today, they don't care, and they're not obligated to the public. They're obligated to the wealth of the company. And that's what people look at with capitalism, not understanding that there are a lot of companies out there doing good. Elon Musk is one of them. I'm a fangirl. So when you look at that structure, you have to understand that there are people that are not qualified who are running our government. So when it says don't take a wooden nickel, don't take something that's worth nothing. And that goes with trade and barter, but it also becomes what we're dealing with inflation today. Our money is going down in value. And that's what people don't understand, why it costs us more. And I just got in this discussion about a carton of eggs and why eggs are going up. Eggs are going up because the supply chain is broken. It costs them more, these truck drivers, it costs them more in gas and maintenance now to take the eggs from the farm to the market, and businesses will never lose money. So that means that if those costs go up for gas and for the trucker's time, because everybody wants $15 an hour or more, right? So if those rates go up, our food is going to go up because it's called cost of goods sold. It's an accounting practice, which means that business doesn't want to ever lose money. So if you don't lose money, that means that everything that it cost you to put that product out there gets put into what you charge somebody for that product. So Bernie Sanders, if you're listening to me as you scream at Chipotle about corporate greed, you need to understand how business operates before you keep thinking it's corporate greed. Because yes, these celebrities and big businesses make money, but every time prices go up, if you go look at their annual report, their salaries are not going up. So again, just somebody who doesn't fundamentally understand business but is now shaping the minds of the younger generation, thinking that business is out to get them. When if you start your own business and you're an entrepreneur and you make a lot of money, you're now disadvantaged of that because of taxation and different things like that. So taking a wooden nickel, what has happened, and we are approaching a major crash because money and our monetary supply is run by a privately held company. I just got in a conversation with two people today. One knew that the Federal Reserve is a privately held company, and the other one had no idea. And so, yes, so for those of you that are out there, if you go to get a bank loan and you hear, oh, it's prime plus this for the bank, that prime rate is what the Federal Reserve makes for transporting our money. And I also heard a horrifying statistic that in the past 2 years, 40% of our monetary supply has come from new money in the market. So if money is based on supply and demand means that the more of something on the market, the less it's going to be valued. The less of it on the market, the higher it's going to be valued. It's the same thing as going on eBay and selling your collectibles. The rarer something is, the higher the rate goes, right? The more that they're out there, you can't sell it for even $5 because there's so many of them. Now you're doing a price war with somebody else who has the exact same thing. So it's all about scarcity and rarity. So when you keep dumping money in the system, our value of our dollar goes down. So now our dollar is not worth what it used to be. And that's why it takes more of those dollars to buy something, because the dollar has less. So now what we're dealing with, what's going to be massive inflation, is that, and I don't listen to, and let me just set the stage right now so that you all have this awareness. Economics and economists, it's all based on theory. That's why they get it wrong more than they get it right. That's why the person who predicted the 2008 crash is one of the very few people that saw it coming. Why? Because it's a theory. They're running numbers and equations, and it's all theory. And I'll explain how I know that from one of my deans who sat at the Federal Reserve Board in Chicago and shared some things with me. But going back to what a wooden nickel is, it's our monetary supply going down so that now our dollar is not worth as much. And especially if you go to England, where the pound sterling means it's still sterling, silver, is worth more. It's worth basically the equivalent of $1.50 to our dollar. And I know that because I went to school in England. So I would go, I want this banana, and it says it's $1, but I'm really paying $1.50 for a banana. And do I really want a banana worth $1.50? So there's a different monetary supply system, and the value of that supply depends on the value of the currency. So don't take a wooden nickel, don't take something that's worthless. That also means that if you're trading and bartering, you have to really think about what you want to trade and barter, because trade and barter, again, is the escape mechanism that if you want to get out of taxation, then go to trade and barter, because the government hasn't figured out a way to, and you really almost can't, because it's based on value. That's what they tax. Everything is based on the value of the item. Well, if the value of an item is different between two different people, if I don't want this $1,000 TV set, and I really want your ice cream maker for $30, and I say, hey, I'll trade you my $1,000 TV for that. The value is in the use of it, and the desire that I have for your ice cream maker at $30 to give you my $1,000 TV that I'm not using anymore. How do you tax that? You almost can't. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to do it, but right now they can't. So trade and barter is the way to go. But again, it talks about, don't take a wooden nickel, don't take something that's worthless. So, think about what your desires are too. Your desires that you have in your brain, people, let me tell you this as an award-winning marketer, and I keep saying that because I want people to understand that I know marketing very, very well. That's why I've won the American Marketing Association Award. That means that I have won the Oscars in my industry for the campaigns that I've done. That also means that I have insight into what's going on that other people don't have. And there's nothing wrong with saying that I'm smart. Other people are smart in different ways, but I happen to be smart in marketing. So when I see these political campaigns and when I see corporate campaigns, I can see through what they're doing. I immediately in my head go, oh, okay, so that's what they're doing. That's the game they're playing now. So you have to understand that your desires for things in life are manufactured. No one has real desires anymore. It's all created by this system that makes you think that you want things that you don't need. You know, I mean, I went out and bought just recently a water distiller machine. Did I have the desire for it? Yes. Why? Because I know that the filtration system in a Brita filter is not as good as boiling water. That's why you always do boil alerts. Well, boiling water boils all the impurities out of it. And our water supply has impurities in it. Even filtered water through the sewage system doesn't take everything out of our water supply. The only true way to get water out of our water supply is to boil it out. But if you boil it, it creates steam, right? But you don't have anything on top of it that catches the steam and then converts that steam back to water again, so that now you're drinking purified water. I just bought one of those. My desire isn't for the machine, it's for the clean water. And that's where your desires should be placed right now, on things that are going to help you live a healthier lifestyle. And again, now will I get to the point where maybe I can buy some property that's not contaminated? We don't live in that world anymore. Everything is contaminated. They've even got studies showing that there are high, I think it was like 30,000 parts per million of aluminum on Mount Shasta. And if I can find the research study, I'll put the link below. But yeah, so that means that it's coming from something above the airspace, which what goes up above the airspace? Airplanes and rockets. So there's something that's coming off of those, or something from the earth that's getting up into that atmospheric layer that it shouldn't be at, that they're now finding it in the snow in Mount Shasta. That's above the cloud line. So we can't ever get away from it, but we should be reducing our exposure to it. And you can't really reduce your exposure to all these chemicals unless you start to make some really tough choices. That little machine wasn't a tough choice for me. It was like $120 for a stainless steel. And they do sell it with plastic containers that you can put it in, but I'm not doing plastic anymore, because when you pour hot water in plastic, it melts the plastic and then you drink the plastic. That's why we have microplastics in our blood system now. They're reporting with people. So again, how do we escape this modern life? Is that we still have to keep this modern life around it because this is what we live, but it's slowly backing yourself out of it. So little things like that can help. So when you look at taking a wooden nickel, my desire to escape this modern life and to live more of a healthier life, I will spend money when it makes sense, but I'm not running out buying a Chanel handbag because I happen to have the money in the bank. It doesn't mean anything. Somebody else's brand label doesn't mean anything. I don't care if people think I'm poverty driven. I don't care if what somebody thinks about me, because I swear, I don't care what anybody else thinks about me. I do on some levels, but I don't let it impact me. So my desires are purely based on my own need. I don't watch advertising. I skip through it as quickly as I can. I can see, even if that happens, I can see the advertising in the campaign. So I know, oh, well, okay, I see what they're doing there. I'm not as, I can be. That's why I turned off my television, cut the cord from cable probably almost 30 years ago now. And then started watching documentaries, and then moved to YouTube before they monetized YouTube. And now I have to suffer through, 30 seconds of television, of commercials, but it's still invasive, but it's not as invasive. And now I have this sharper lens to look at the advertising and say, yeah, not going to work for me. So again, taking a wooden nickel is something of value and something that's been devalued. And it's also you not understanding your knowledge. So let me just take a step back and say to people that are out there watching, just because you have a college degree does not mean you're smart. Okay, there, I said it. Now, I have college degrees, but I've also complemented my college degrees with self-education. That's where my documentaries come from. And I get into a lot of combat with people who get offended because I'll say something and they'll say, what do you think, I'm not smart? Well, in this topic, you're not, because you didn't go back to the root source, or you didn't take the time and read the law. I have actually read laws lately. I just got done reading the mental health code when some smart ass said, as a health advocate that I am right now, some smart ass said, oh, well, according to law. Okay, let me go read the law. And I did. And I just said it as a health advocate, I just said to them, oh, I know that you want to meet with him by himself, but by law, he can have me there. You have to put in writing why you think I'm a threat to being in that meeting. If he wants me there, I can be there. I don't have a problem with stepping out, but this is his choice, not yours, telling him that I can't be there. But that's me going and reading the law versus being told by somebody who's an expert in medical saying, oh, well, we want to be alone with him. Well, no. Your interpretation of the law is because you've never read it and you put processes in that made you think you could do it, but you've never read the law. So by law, he can have someone there with him. So that's what I mean about my knowledge base isn't because I just heard it from someone who said it. I've heard it from someone who said it and went, let me go read the law. And then I talk to experts who then can validate what I have because they may know more about the case law. Because again, you have laws that are out there and even laws around money that are out there around currency. And you have to go read those laws because, the case law is that. So if there's any gaps in law, it goes to court. And then the court is the one that interprets the law. And so, I went out and made sure that when I have thought through things, that I've gone out and got experts that have said, yes, based on all these laws that have been clarified, as well as the law itself, this is where we're at. So again, if you go out and read our commerce, go read the 1913, I believe it is, Taft Act that put the Federal Reserve in place. They named it specifically so that you wouldn't know that it's not a part of the government. So I'll do videos on that perhaps on my business channel. But I really, the don't take a wooden nickel is an ancient saying. And ancient could be 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, whatever. But if you go back to ancient peoples, they were trading beads, they were trading food, they were trading all these different sources. And that wooden nickel would apply then as too, is if you didn't have the knowledge that you're buying, let's say you buy a banana. So for example, bananas, I don't know if you know that down in the southern regions, they eat them black because they caramelize as they ferment and get mushy. We don't like them mushy because we buy them green, because by the time they get to us, because they're a tropical fruit, they pick them green so that in the transportation process, by the time they get to us, they are now just gently ripened. But if you talk, like I've talked to my friend who's from Jamaica, she said, y'all eat your bananas wrong. So again, why did that happen? There's a very business reason why that happened. But again, they probably were saying, oh, hey, here you go. Wink, wink, here's a great banana, not, thinking that we aren't going to like it, but we become accustomed to unripened, bananas. But that's a wooden nickel. They sold us something that they wouldn't eat themselves. So, but we never were educated and we actually liked what we were eating and we learned to like it. So we don't see it as a wooden nickel. So there's this knowledge, and that's what the wooden nickel is the knowledge that somebody has that what they're either selling you or giving you is not up to code, is not desirable. That's the wooden nickel exchange too. So in addition to it being part of the monetary supply, there's also the wooden nickel of somebody who knows that what they're giving you is worthless. And without that knowledge that you have in your head to say, oh, well, I'm not going to take that because it's not quite right, but come back to me in a week and I might consider taking it. But nobody wants to do the work of knowledge. Nobody wants to sit down. They wanted to have it spoon fed to them in a college that is broken. And that's what, millennials and Zoomers, I believe, are coming to realize, which is why their anxiousness is so high. And I do speak and do guest speaking on the different generations, because they know intrinsically that they're not prepared for the business world to work, and that they're not prepared in life to work. And that builds an anxiousness and defensiveness in them. And that's what I want to do with this channel as well, is bring that knowledge to you guys, by talking to experts as I go through this unpacking my life from the modern world, and understanding herbs and understanding ancient art and all the things that add more value to my life. I want to start to do that. So I will bring that to you as I'm on my journey as well. But again, don't take a wooden nickel. Hopefully you start to see and trust me that I am doing that homework for you. I have read the laws so that you are getting it as close to the source if you're going to get it, but you'll also get the source from me, because I want everybody to go read it themselves. Sometimes knowledge isn't that you just don't know it, or you don't want to have the time to go look at it, you don't want to have the time to go find it and then read it. So anytime I'm providing you factual information, I will always put it in the comment section, because I want you to be able to have the ability to go read it themselves and trust that the knowledge I'm giving you, if I give you the source of where it comes from, then I know you can go check me to make sure that we're on the same page. So that's it for today. Don't take a wooden nickel, either in knowledge or in money, and just understand that, we can't keep dumping money into our monetary supply, that it's based on supply and demand. And we have to start to step up as a community instead of requiring the government to start giving us money, because every time they give us money, it's going to devalue the dollar, and that's less money we have to spend. It's better to give your own time to help somebody instead of giving to charity. Go give your time. That's what they want anyway. They're willing to accept the money, but they only accept the money because they have to hire people. That if you did your time and you gave them your time and your effort, they wouldn't need to hire someone, and they wouldn't need to have money for charity. So there's a lot of things that I think that we should be doing, of giving more of ourselves and our time rather than giving of our money. So don't give a wooden nickel. Think about that this week. Try to find some place where you volunteer your time so that they don't have to go buy something. And that's giving of yourself. And that to them, the recipient, that's not a wooden nickel. They're getting the most value that they can get from you versus your money. They're getting your time and your care, with whatever their cause is. So don't take a wooden nickel. Be more mindful of watching out for what's of value and being manipulated on desires. And keep watching the channel as I come out with different sayings, that you'll start to learn about how to be able to unpack and learn about this oral culture, that it's actually very valid, more relevant than what you're hearing today. And we can all take this step back as a group, take a step back as society, and live in healthier balance with nature and harmony, and mind, body, and spirit. But thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you, and have a great day being Paleo.